All around the world. London, England, south of France, and all points between, they know about your man. Konnichiwa, ladies, when I'm out in Japan. I'm a Tokyo giant like Ichiro, I am. All around the world.
Welcome to another edition of the Lifestyle Design Confessions podcast. We're here to help inspire you to go for it and live the lifestyle design of your dreams. Here's Rob.
Welcome to another edition of the Lifestyle Design Confessions podcast. I'm Rob Murgatroyd from GetJetSetMoney.com, and today we have Colin Wright on the line from ExileLifestyle.com. If you are even slightly interested in designing your life in a bigger way, you don't want to miss this interview. This dude is the real deal. Without further ado, Colin, are you there?
I am here, Rob.
So, first of all, before we even get into anything, I have such trouble keeping track of where you are in the world. And where are you at this very moment?
Right now, I am actually in New York City.
You're in New York City. And you were where right before that?
Right before that, I was in, well, just about a week ago, I was in New Zealand.
There you go.
And between here and there, I was in Los Angeles.
Okay, so just by way of background, give me a little evolution of how and why you moved from Missouri to LA, to Argentina, to Australia. What's going on here? Why are you bouncing all over the world?
Well, I'm originally from the Bay Area, actually, up in Northern California. And my parents decided it'd be a good idea to move to Missouri because that's where they're from. And crime was pretty high back in the early 90s up in that part of the world. So moved to Missouri, lived there for about 12 years, and there's not a lot of work for a designer out there, unfortunately. Not a lot of good work. So I ended up moving after college out to LA, and then I quit the job that I took when I moved out there, started up my own studio, and then that's kind of what led to Exile Lifestyle and traveling.
So what is Exile Lifestyle?
Exile Lifestyle is a great excuse. It's the project that I started that is essentially my excuse for traveling and having other people decide where I go. Because if you do that kind of thing without a project, then you're a crazy person. But if you do it with a project, then you're innovative. So I opted to go for innovative as much as possible. And basically what I do, I write about what I know about entrepreneurship and sustainability and minimalism, all these different kinds of things, whatever kind of catches my interest, honestly. And while doing that, I run my businesses and travel to a new country every 4 months, and my readers decide what country that will be.
All right, we're going to get into a little bit of that because that's really fascinating to me. How old are you?
I just turned 25 in April.
So are your parents sort of entrepreneurial in spirit, or are you, are they traveling type of people? Were you raised this way, or did you just sort of evolve into this?
I think they've always wanted to. They enjoy traveling. They just don't get to do it very often. My mother, up until just recently, worked for the church, and my father still works for the state of Missouri. So they're both kind of 9-to-5 people and always kind of have been just because they didn't really know any other way. But just recently, my mother actually quit her job to become a full-time writer and hopefully do some travel writing. So I think there's a latent travel bug and entrepreneur bug in both of them. They just never really had the opportunity to take advantage of it. And now that we've kind of got the technology and the culture that's accepting of it, I think they and probably other people their age as well will start to do more of that.
So the DNA came honestly. I get it. All right. So, the things that you do are really, really interesting. I was clicking through your blog, and I noticed that when you had that, that sort of pivotal moment, if anybody wants to sort of like follow along with this, you can go to his blog at ExileLifestyle.com, and you'll find a picture of him sort of in the back of a white van getting ready to leave LA, packed all up to go off on one of his adventures. I don't remember where it was, but what I found really interesting was a couple of days before that, you split with your girlfriend, and you decided to throw a breakup party. And when I tell you a breakup party, he was partying. It was not like there was tears. They were dancing, drinking, and partying. So just sort of like to get into your head a little bit about that. Like, how did that come about? And, what was the psychology there to have this send-off to your next adventure?
Well, the breakup party just seemed to make sense at the moment. My ex and I, actually, she's a blogger as well. She writes at Instigationology. now, but she's living up in Seattle these days. We were basically living together in LA in this townhouse on the west side, and we decided to go up to visit Canada just in case Obama didn't win, essentially. We were going to take a look at some places to live there. And on our way back down, we headed to Seattle to stay with a friend of hers, and we were sitting at this little like jazz Latin fusion club or something like that. And she turns to me and says, I kind of want to move to Seattle. And I turned to her just kind of without thinking about it and said, I think I want to leave the country. And at this point, we were both running businesses out of LA, working our asses off, working 100 to 120-hour weeks, just, really busting our butts to bring the money in to afford the lifestyle we were living. So this revelation kind of came as a shock, and we just kind of nodded at each other and said, okay, I get it. This is something where we're going to be stepping on each other's feet if we're not careful. We've had such an excellent relationship. We don't want to lose, the relationship that we have, but we can't continue going on with this type of relationship. So we set ourselves a deadline of 4 months. In those 4 months, we would make our plan. I would figure out a way to leave the country, start up a blog, do all that kind of thing. She would decide what she wanted to do in Seattle. And then at the end, we would have a great big breakup party where we invite all of our friends and show them that we're still friends and they don't have to choose between us. And that, this is what a good relationship should be. A good relationship means that if things are coming to an end with the romantic relationship side of things, you can still carry on and have a positive, communicative friendship.
And so you left and she left and you headed off to, where was it that you went? Was it New Zealand? Oh, it was Argentina. Okay. And you went there for 4 months.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how you choose the next destination that you're going to. So you went to Argentina. Was that something that you chose, or was that something that your readers chose and you said, all right, I'll do it?
It was something that my readers chose. They actually, I basically ask for recommendations, and I take the first 8 suggestions of countries. I put those on a poll. I leave an other there just in case we have some write-in votes that take it, because that would be kind of an upset vote. That would be awesome. And then my readers vote on it over the course of a month, and whatever country wins at the end of that month, that's where I'll go next.
Okay, so then you headed out there to Argentina, and where did you go after Argentina?
After Argentina, I took some time, traveled through South America a little bit, briefly went back up to the States, and then flew down to New Zealand.
Now, you're obviously doing this alone. The girlfriend isn't there. Your parents aren't there. It's just you, you being 25 years old, traveling around the world by yourself. Is there any, or was there any anxiety about, man, this is freaking me out. What the hell am I doing? I'm alone. There's nobody around. I mean, what was I drinking? Like, do you have any of those moments, or is it all passion and inspiration?
There are a lot of those moments, especially when I get to a new country. The first 2 weeks are incredibly lonely. When you're in a place where you don't speak the language, you don't get the culture, you don't know anything about it, you don't know a single person there, and you're just trying to find a place to live, and then you're trying to find a place to go to the supermarket, and just all those basic little things, rebuilding, starting from scratch every time. It's incredibly lonely to do that alone. To basically start a new life without any connections, without a network to build off of. So that's difficult. And when I left, though, initially, I was really excited about it. Part of the reason I wanted to travel in this way and really go gung-ho with it is that I had never left the country before last year when I started this thing. So, I'm a really green traveler still. I really have no idea what I'm doing in a lot of cases, and I've learned a lot already just by taking this kind of crash course project. But the fact was I was feeling so miserable that I had this huge experience and knowledge gap in my life. And as a big picture person, it was driving me absolutely crazy. I knew all there was to know about my aspect of business and entrepreneurship and people and, how to work a crowd and stuff like that in LA, all those important things. But I'd never been to a grocery store in another country, which seems simple and stupid, like a small thing, but you learn an amazing amount just from talking to the person bagging up your groceries in Argentina.